And so it's kind of like looking at it in that way of like, this is where we're going. Is it in this? Like, this is where we want to go as a family, as an individual in this family. Does that align with where I want to go? And should I, should it be something I pursue with the family? And understanding not everyone's gonna want to, right? Or be able to at this time because of whatever reason. Like, I just have a lot on my plate, or like Monique and Lewis said last week, like they're already doing some things. So like, like, do you want to now, like, put your hand in another pot when you're already doing something? And so just kind of looking at your own just, I guess, trajectory of life and seeing what that looks like. So today the agenda says, oh yeah, we will open in prayer right now. But that was kind of like a recap of like we just talked about, just kind of pretty much throwing out what we know, what we don't know, what we want to learn right now. So I've been asking people to write their mission and vision statements. If you want to email it to me, my Uncle Michael emailed me his, Tina emailed me hers. You can email those to me, and then I can keep those for safekeeping, or if you want to even share those with people. We're going to share some of ours today, and I still want to have open that up for people to share today as well, and then talk about kind of like what our mission and vision for the family is, and not just monetarily, but just like in general, like when you see your family and when you see Kayla, when you see your nieces and nephews, and like what do you kind of envision for them, and and just all of us kind of like thinking about that. But first, sorry, I will open us in prayer real fast. So Jesus, yeah, we thank you for this moment. God, we thank you for those who are on this Zoom call. God, we pray that your will be done, right? Your kingdom come, Jesus, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, Jesus. So your will be done, Lord, that you would increase in our lives and that we would decrease. Lord, that you, Creator, who have made us and said that it is good, Lord God, that we would live in the giftings and talents that you've put in us, Lord Jesus, unashamed and unafraid, Lord God, and confident that he who begun a good thing and a good work in us will continue it into the day of completion. So, Lord, we ask that as we desire to become more financially savvy, Lord God, and to tap into the giftings that you have for us, Lord God, that you would give us discipline, Lord God, that you would give us wisdom, that you would steer us in the right direction, Lord God, as we desire to leave a legacy for our family, Lord God, that goes from generation to generation, Lord God, that teaches them that, they are beautiful and wonderfully and amazingly created, Lord God, and that who they are and how they're created is perfect in your eyes, Lord God, and that they, giving our next generations the opportunity and the I guess the space, Lord God, to be and to exercise the callings that you've called them to. So, Lord, we just pray for this time that you'd be here, Lord, that you would speak through us, that wisdom would be drawn. Holy Spirit, we invite you into this time in Jesus' name. Amen. So I sent you guys the for mission statements, and Uncle Michael, I know you did yours, and Doug, you have one. Did you do yours? Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh yeah. Does anyone want to share theirs with everyone or discuss theirs at all? This is the time that we're going to do that. Or even how that process went of creating a vision statement. Anyone? All right, well, I will share Tina's. Let me pull it up.
So my question is, of all the people, I know you sent out some document or some sort. How many? I think one of the considerations and all that we do and pursue is that there must be consideration as far as, like mission statement, vision statement. Some people do not live there or have never lived there, right? So and I know you sent out the document,
Right.
and even though we have that document, um, it may be a challenge to create that. So a vision, so an explanation of a vision. Where do you see yourself, or how do you see yourself, or see your life? You know, how do you envision that? And then the mission, I think, maybe just to help people if they solicit help. Um, how do I create this? How do I form this? And what is it, right? And that's why I had, that's one of the reasons I said, uh, from the Bible, we see God's vision or vision statement, as well as the mission, just to give people an idea of what it means when we talk about mission and vision. So, but anyway, go for it.
And so far, like, no one has reached out. I feel like it's pretty. People felt like it's pretty self-explanatory, and
Cool.
I know the document I did send was really helpful. Like, it was a step-by-step that helped you really dig in and gave good questions. But yeah, I'll share Tina's. It's actually really good.
Very cool.
Her mission is says to inspire and collaborate with my family to embark on innovative solutions to become money-wise warriors, to provide the necessary tools and foundation for my children and family to be debt-free and not live paycheck to paycheck. That's really good. It is. And then she said, vision for the project, to embark on innovative strategies and tactics for financial gain, stability, freedom, and growth, to build a legacy and foundation for my children and family. And then she put, numbered some steps. And so one was establish a plan to become debt-free, excluding mortgage, establish a plan to save at least $5,000 to $1,000 a month, set short-term and long-term goals for financial stability and gain, create a business account, establish LLC 501c3, research business bylaws for business and real estate, how much money each family will need to contribute to get this business started. And so that was that's some of what Tina shared.
Excellent.
That was good.
Uncle Michael? Yeah, it was. Uncle Michael, would you like to share yours?
Well, Tina seemed like she just totally incorporated my ideas and expanded on it. I mean, that she pretty much, what you said her idea was pretty much my idea, just better said and expanded. So.
Yeah.
How you doing, Michael?
Huh?
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Who is that talking?
Helen.
Hey, Ellen. I don't know if my face is on here.
Yeah, I see you.
We see you. Yes.
Dwayne
Okay,
looking like you, because I have to remember you're older than Dwayne, so that's it.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't think I need to recap mine because, like I said, listening to what Tina wrote was pretty much my idea. She just went a little further. So if somebody else wants to share their idea, go ahead, or their vision.
I think
But I like what you said, Dami, about the fact, because I thought about it, the fact that there are people that at this time in their life might not be up for the challenge, but I think as we grow this thing, if God's willing, as we grow this thing, other people will come along, and at some point, those of us that do want to go forward, at some point, there's going to have to be a commitment because, I mean, I tell you, if God get involved in this thing, there's going to be turbulence. There's going to be demonic assaults and so at some point I was thinking as I was listening earlier and just looking at my own heart, thinking, wow, you know what? At some point, there just needs to be a commitment as we grow this thing, as we begin to put things together. And it seems like we're formulating it. And even now, I think there needs to be a degree of commitment from some of us, which I think there is. I believe, Dominique, you're committed. I believe, Doug, you're committed. I'm committed. I like what Tina wrote about that saving of money per month that each and every one of us, as we go, as we begin to formulate this plan, because I was looking at something, I don't know if you guys are, what's his name, Ramsey? I forgot.
Dave Ramsey, yeah.
Yeah, I have a book that Jeff Hogan wrote, and he was sharing about baby steps. And Tina kind of encapsulated some of his ideas in terms of just the baby steps. I think you guys are talking about that Google Drive where we can put information, because I wanted to share those baby steps that he talked about. I think there's like 7 baby steps that we can all incorporate if we want to.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, so there is on the Google Drive, I just started a file for resources, because one of the things that I've been asking y'all for is like, just as like, even for you, Uncle Michael, that book by Jeff Gordon, like letting me know, so like as we're encouraging one another to educate ourselves, also sharing books, podcasts, TED Talks. My Abby had some documentaries that she's been watching, and I'm putting them on there, and I'm almost at this moment they're kind of like sectioned off into ages as well. So like, what could you be teaching your kids 0 to like 12 to 8, or 13 to 18, and it goes all the way into retirement. And so under those, it's like books, websites. I even have games and activities. And so I found a lot of games for children and stuff that I told Abby, I actually want to play as well, because a lot. And Alicia and I said last time, like, we're starting at ground zero, right? And so it's like I may need to learn on a elementary level right now. So, but if you guys have websites or things that you've gone to, any knowledge that you have, you can even add it on there. You can just add another page. And so it's there. It's called, what is it called?
I don't see it on there. Did you share it?
It's called Financial Resources. It's in the folder. Literacy Resources. It's in the, yeah.
I don't see it.
You don't see it in the folder? So if you go on the Google Drive, Doug, it says agenda for today, family meeting, and then family financial literacy resources.
See it on the screen right there? Right?
I'm sure I know.
I don't see it on there. So let me just share my mission. It's a little personal deal, but so I try to, well, let me just read it, and then I'll explain it. And it pretty much kind of summarizes kind of what Tina said. So my mission is this: to keep myself in the love of God and have a holistic investment in people, helping people to live to their full potential in life. And I kind of took that from the Bible. In John 10:10, Jesus said, I came that you might have life and that more abundantly. So the first part of my mission is what Michael kind of covered, to keep myself in the love of God, because I really can't help anyone unless God helps me first. That's the first point. And when you're working with people, dealing with people, as we all have worked with people, no one is perfect. We're all imperfect, and issues arise. So that's why I framed it that way in the beginning. Keep myself in the love of God. So regardless of what comes my way, whatever happens, that's always at the forefront of my mind. And then to have a holistic or a whole investment in people, and that's the spiritual well-being, mental well-being, physical well-being, financial well-being, and invest in people so that in turn they can help other people. So basically mentoring someone else with whatever God has blessed me with, because he said, freely you receive, freely give. So using what God has helped me with to mentor someone else so that they can also in turn help someone else. So basically, vision and mission is not just about me. It's something that will go on after I even die. So that's what really is kind of about having that vision and that mission that lives beyond us. So when we talk about family, business, or what have you, nonprofit, that's, I envision that living beyond the lifespan of an individual person or a certain generation. Is something that we want to keep going on. So that's my mission is to keep myself in the love of God and have a holistic investment in people, family, so that they can help other people live to their full potential in life. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I think mine's had that in there
Mhm.
in regards to spiritual, physical, financial. I think there was a mental component
Yeah.
uh, in building a foundation in those areas through education, encouragement, and empowerment, the
Yeah.
triple E,
Right.
which is what you were saying.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I don't have my mission statement in front of me, but mine was a short version, but it was a collective of both what you said and what Tina said, but in a shorter, less words.
Yeah. And that's kind of for me, I try to shorten the statement as much as possible, but have it inclusive of everything that I'm trying to do. Right.
Michael,
Yeah,
would you like me to share?
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
All right.
What's all those pictures I
Um,
see coming up?
Oh, that's me looking for the file.
that's
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry about that.
yeah, and that's yeah. All right.
I'll stop it.
It says Proverbs 16:1. The plans of the heart belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. In collaboration with my family, we would like to build a legacy for our children and the generation to come. We would like to build a strong spiritual, mental, physical, and financial foundation that can change our family, our communities, and our legacy for generations to come. We can do this by educating, encouraging, and empowering ourselves. And in Proverbs 21:5, the plan of the diligent led surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty. I like that. And then Doug, mine was kind of in line with yours where it said, what I put is, it is important that I and those around me live the lives that we were created to live, not just the lives that are most comfortable or monetarily rewarding, that we work in our giftings and strive for improvement, also to live without financial worry and hardship. And in order to do that, to teach our younger generation their value, to find their fulfillment and truth in who Jesus has created them to be, for our children to know the sky is the limit and that what they can and will do in their lives. I want opportunities abounding to have resources readily available. And then with that, like, so the vision for mine was like to have a family scholarship fund, to be able to financially help in ways unforeseen, be able to buy in cash while keeping a nest, learning to learn about investment and for myself personally, wanting to be able to give big to the things I believe in and financially encourage others in their giftings, or just kind of some of my visions for the future. So, which I was gonna. That was all. Yeah. Helen, did you have anything you'd like to say about mission and vision?
No, because this is the first time, you told me when you sent me the email. So,
Yeah. No, you're fine. I just didn't want to
I have to think things out. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I know some people are like, I'll say something.
Just financial literacy is huge. That's part of what I do. So if Kayla was still here, she can tell you I've had her in financial literacy classes since she probably was 3 on how
See, we need you.
in money. And here's the thing, you guys. I mean, and you guys probably already know. This is many years ago, I went to a seminar and they said, how did you first learn about money? Did you learn from your family? You know, and in a way I did, but then in a way I did not. Not the way that we want to take it and leave for our legacy for our children and our grandchildren. So I knew about the envelope system, and I still talk about that to my clients to this day. And my dad couldn't read or write, but he knew about that's the financial method he used, was the which was the envelope system. So still, that was important, and we can take that and grow with it. But baby steps, you guys, is huge, because when you start people off on a larger schedule, you'll lose them.
Yes.
We do that. We've learned that you have to meet them where they are. And if you don't do that, they can't see, to next week.
So true, Helen, because you overwhelm them. They get overwhelmed
Yeah.
with this new stuff, and they're just like, I can't do this. I can't take it.
It's like, it's too much. And I always tell my clients, you can save, and they go, oh, I don't have $100 to save a month. No, I said, the key is you save what you can. If it's only $10 a month, the goal is to save $10 a month and not touch it, and to keep adding to it. But you don't tell them, oh, I need you to save 10% right off the bat. Everybody is not, equipped to do that in the beginning. So yeah, baby steps is huge.
Right. And I really believe it's developing an attitude, right? A mindset. When I say attitude, I'm not using the word the way they use it. You have an attitude. I'm talking about a certain mindset, because like you said, Helen, and I share one of the resources with Dominique. It's called the 4 Laws of Debt-Free Prosperity, or they changed the book now, but it's called 4 Laws of Debt-Free or Financial Freedom or something like that. But it's changing that mindset, because we can do more with little, and then as you do that, it develops. But those are baby steps. Yeah. Those are baby steps, because people are being exposed to things that they've never exposed to, and it can be a little too much. But yeah, it's baby steps. So absolutely, I agree. Go ahead, Dominique.
But you know what? It's pretty cool that, Helen, you're on here, because one of the things we talked about last time we met 2 weeks ago is about the collective strengths that can come together and build this. Now, you come from a place of finances that you have a certain discipline and understanding of finances. I heard Doug say earlier in our conference, our family conference, about a place where he pretty much lives in terms of, things that he does and systems that he builds and stuff like that. I mean, there are strengths here. And what you said about, you're so right on, what you said about baby steps. And as we bring other people in, collectively, not everybody's going to be at the same place of understanding. And that's where, something like what you're presenting, Helen, you can come in, you can educate. I mean, you taught your daughter, you teach other people. So, I mean, it sounds like we collectively can come together and do this. I think we have to have objectives and a plan once we get our vision statement in place, because I think that empowering, encouraging, and that piece of education is going to be crucial going forward.
So I have a question. So this is our second ad hoc meeting, I'll call it that. And so where do we go? And Dominique, since you guys kind of authored, I don't know who authored this. I'm just coming in right now. It's like startup. So where do we go from here? Because, we can talk about it. And I'm going to tell you all right now just from the beginning. We're talking about money and all that, but money is not the solution to life's problems, right?
Right.
The money enhances your quality of life, But if you have mental health issues, money will, let me buy my next meds or get my smokes, or, it doesn't mean that much as far as, say, someone who has money or does not have money, they want money so they can travel. People translate um, money differently as far as the usage of money. So this is just me. This is just me. Um, I don't know if the focus should be on wealth, because people define wealth differently as well.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
because there's a word that's used in the Bible, and there's a word just used in general. It's called contentment. Just say someone 80 years old, they're content if they get their medication. They're content if they can get out of the bed, right? Without arthritis type of deal. So they're content with that. They don't need wealth. Now, if you're talking to a younger generation who's pursuing a house and a car and a startup family and all this, then financial wealth is a concern of theirs. But for someone who's on the top of the hill going down, as far as the lifespan, it may not be that much to them. So I would just suggest that we approach the various, I'm gonna call them topics or life issues, very gently, because we're all coming in at well, not all, but some of us are coming in from different perspectives, right? So I would just consider that.
So I guess like I was just telling Abby, I was like, I think like next steps right now is also just like using these times to like also like almost as like, yeah, as like webinars.
Well,
Is that,
webinars in
yeah,
what sense? Because
like exactly, like like we're talking like like having, I know Jatara wants to come on and teach a class, like like a 30-minute class that she has on what is it on?
so let me ask you,
On health.
is that going to be the structure moving forward, or, and like Michael was saying, are we going to, is this the structure, or are we going to do something more concrete, like Jatara coming in? So you follow what I'm saying?
Right.
Do
Yeah.
we move along with trying to pursue a 501c3 nonprofit? If so, we need that structure. Um, where do we go from here? Because we can have people come on. I can come on, and Helen can probably talk about
Right.
housing, right? HUD and all that. I can talk about finances, spirituality. But is that is that what we want this to look like? Or do we want it to look like what we've been talking about, the family business and services being provided? What do we want it to look like? So,
Oh, I think it's all of that. I
yeah, but where do
mean,
we start?
right. And that's the key. Where do we start? So I think our next meeting, because I don't think any of us were prepared to answer that question right now.
No,
Where do we
exactly.
start?
Put
So
it
I
out
think
there.
that should be the next meeting. Where do we start? Because you're right, we need to start somewhere.
Right.
We can't just keep coming on, because then we're going
We
to lose
lose.
our momentum.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I know for like, and like for me, like the biggest things like with these like introductory meetings is kind of like what, like asking like all of us, like what are the goals? What are the goals that we have in meeting every month? Like if we meet bi-weekly or once a month. And honestly, like my Uncle Michael said, like I think it's twofold. Where as we're talking about holistically making sure that people are educated, like whether it's like learning stuff about like learning the resources and stuff to like have a mentally healthy mind, as well as financial literacy, even just a healthy body. Like, so I like the idea of like, even if, so say it's 2 meetings a month, one of those being on a subject, like oh, we have so and so coming in that's going to teach on mental health, which is something that like it's big in our family. Or Maisha's has built a budgeting spreadsheet and she wants to teach everyone how to use it if you want to use it. And then the next meeting being kind of like one of these meetings where it's like when we have action steps, like I know at the end of this one we'll have new action steps for like things that need to be, things that we need to do before we meet again. And so for me it's like I envision it being both, and like so like having one that is kind of like a learning session, and then another one that's kind of like almost like a dump all session where we're, you know, discussing kind of like, how is this working? Or like, oh, I read this book and it was really helpful, blah, 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 you know, like, or this resource, and continue talking. And one thing Abby just said is, and I know I talked to Marlon about this, like, also like, as we start pushing people for a buy-in, and Louis brought this up last time also, like, you know, like start getting committees together to start, you know, like,
So
yeah, because one is like, do Abby and I, or do I, like, I don't always want to have to run the meetings, you know, like, especially because like I may not always be available. And so like, you know, like, and I don't want it to be one of those things where it's like, this is this is Abby and my thing, but you know, it's like, this is our thing. So like, you know, like anyone could run that until we do set up positions, you know,
Well,
like,
let's do this.
until we have like a president.
Let's do this because that's a good idea what you're saying, Dominique. And I think, Doug, you have some fantastic ideas. Let's do this. Dominique, why don't you and Doug collaborate for the next meeting and come up with a agenda? I think part of that agenda needs to be one where we're moving forward, because in a sense, it does need to be twofold. One, where there's an educational component, but the other piece is, what is our plan to begin to do this investment thing?
Right, basically
And
like
I
an
mean,
execution plan.
I think if we can start, what's the word I'm using? Bring those two thoughts together each time we meet. Because I think, again, we're going to lose people if we're not bringing those two thoughts together. Because again, it's back to the thought that not everybody's on the same level. So on the one hand, if people are hearing, okay, this is the plan of where we're going, and we have some thoughts and some ideas in place where we can actually do an action item of how we're going to bring those thoughts and ideas into reality, then people start buying in. The other piece is that we're doing the very thing that we said in terms of our vision, is to educate, encourage, and to empower. So that's where I think Doug and Helen, if you're willing, I think you guys can do that in terms of the education piece. And I think that's where, Dominique, you're not the primary person. If we can collaborate an agenda every 2 weeks, and at the end of that, kind of get some action items of what people are going to do. So yeah, Dominique, if you're not available, and we already know that, then, you know, Doug, Helen, myself, and whoever else is willing can facilitate the meeting. But we do have an agenda. I love this idea of having an agenda.
so my question is, so to me, I'm hearing a couple things. First, we're talking about family business, but that may not necessarily be the focus of this, what we're doing here. The focus may, in addition, be just not just, but we may be referring to also education. So we have family business, but then we also have just educating one another in various areas. Is that what I'm hearing? So,
yeah, so I mean, I guess for me, like one of my things is like I'll just speak for my, I mean, I'm gonna just speak for myself, but like even right now, like Abby's talking about a buy-in, but it's like, for me, it's like, I'm so financially illiterate that like, I don't even, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I need to learn, you know, that's why I have the books and things like that. And it's like, I don't need, like, one, it's like, do I think I'm financially prepared to buy into whatever a family business at this moment? And so that's why, as you know, like you were talking about like momentum, but it's like also like, you know, we don't want to have people jump in and they're just jumping in blindly. And so that's also why, like, it's kind of like, that's why, you know, we're putting resources up and encouraging people, like, please start reading and educating yourself. Like, you know, Maisha's spent the last 2 weeks working on a budget, like literally creating a budget spreadsheet on her own.
Dominique,
and building that from, yes.
let me, if I could make a suggestion. So right now, within this nonprofit I'm a part of, we're developing a collaboration of 10 nonprofits. We're getting them right now. They're all working as individuals, and we're trying to network them. Well, we are networking them together to collaborate to service all the clients in what we call the Inland Empire. So what we our approach is this. So we bring someone in to teach all 10 of them, all 10 of those agencies about grant writing. And then the next month we bring someone in to teach about financial literacy. So then we bring them in, bring someone in to teach them. And why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this. So this is that other part of this. If we want to me, if we want to go that route, so I'm gonna use Jatara, is it? So someone reaches out to Jatara and say, hey, do you want this opportunity to do a seminar or whatever on financial literacy? Then the meeting is set around that agenda. So those who want to chime in, call in, if they're weak in that area and they want to hear that, then they will dial in on that. Because I say that because you will lose momentum and lose people. They'll drop off if the meeting is, things are being discussed that really doesn't pertain to where they're living right now.
Right. Yeah.
So I just think some type of structure moving forward, structure as far as, okay, yeah, we did mission and vision, but what does that really mean as a collective? I get the whole strategy behind it. Doug, what is your vision, your mission? You know, you're just hearing from people. We're just kind of blazing the trail here. I get that. But just moving forward, I think people will sign up for, hey, you know what? Helen is going to, and this is hypothetical. Helen is going to be talking about housing, right? And I'm looking at buying a house, or I'm looking at moving in an apartment. I'm going to chime in on that next Zoom call to hear her talk about it versus someone who's, 120 pounds and exercise all the time. They may not want to be on the Zoom call to talk about healthy living because of where they are, but they may want to be on the Zoom call to hear about housing. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's a good point. I like that.
Yeah.
I can
that's
piggyback
good.
off of everything. Sorry to jump in, but I was waiting for an opportunity.
No, go for
But
it.
to
Go for
piggyback
it.
off of everything that all three of you have said, thank you. If I completely agree with you, Doug. I think that if we're talking about collaborating everything, and I think that each person has something to bring to the table overall. So in my eyes, I'm like, I may not be 100% be able to offer something on the financial side, but I'll be able to offer something somewhere else. And so, and also connecting to that, it shouldn't just fall on you and Dom to create these meetings, put them together, but have like a rotation in place. Have where each person who has something to offer, who wants to talk about something, can create. We'll each take turns on like having days on what we want to talk about, what's going to be the teaching that day, the subject, the agenda, so on and so forth. And that's how we all can have our input in it, how we can all be a part of this, and how we can all offer something, that's useful, maybe not to one person, but to other people, so on and so forth. And it'll still give people the opportunity to, let's say that, somebody like how you said that 120 pounds and they're healthy, so they don't want to necessarily hear about it, but they can offer something in addition. They can offer help, they can offer information, resources, so on and so forth. Towards that, even though they don't need the advice, they can offer the advice. So I think that that's a great idea.
So I would say with that, and that statement I made, and Alicia dittoed it, maybe try to identify, and I put it, I'm typing on your document, Dominique, identify family members' strengths as well as desires and their willingness to do a Zoom session. So I think it's just a three-parter. We identify their strengths, if they're strong in this particular area, and is it their desire to share it with other family members, and then their willingness to do a Zoom session such as this. But I think it starts with identifying those family members with various strengths. And then we can set up a structure and a game plan around those after we ask those three questions, basically. What are your strengths? Do you desire to share that strength with family members? This is what we're doing. And then are you willing to do a Zoom session with that?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. That's very true.
Yeah, so those are some of my thoughts. This is the world I live in every day, and it's sometimes it gets frustrating, but it's okay. It's people helping people, and anytime
What
you're
I just
helping,
did, Doug, is I'm like listening to you guys and listening to myself. I wrote down a few ideas of committees that we need to have moving forward. One is like a family, like a family meeting committee. So a group of people that, pretty much take over like what the meetings look like, reach out, also ask, like, whether it's through a poll or whatever, like what are strengths, what are also things that people want to learn and be educated on. And then, basically like giving that to, a few people that they can, come together and do that. A team that will help put together a full-on mission, vision, statement.
Mhm.
And then a team that can research like what 501c3 versus an LLC corporation, if possible. And then a resource committee. So a committee that is always keeping us abreast to, as we talk, if, we have, Helen does a talk on housing, then they reach out and say, Helen, what are the resources that you spoke about? And, that committee would be the one to get that out to everyone, even maybe beforehand. Like if Helen wants people to have, certain things, they reach out and say, hey, what are the resources that we need to have available for everyone for your talk? So those are the 4 that I wrote down that are possible. I don't know if you guys heard anything else that you think may need to be added, or maybe like that's not something we need right now. Like
so I
just
would say in developing committees, what would be your approach on developing committees? How do you choose those individuals?
right now, just asking people who are interested.
Right.
Yeah,
And I think she has a good idea in terms of
Okay,
committees because, that way those committees can break away from here, come together with a collaborative idea instead of, I mean, right now we're just throwing out stuff, and there's nothing concrete. So if you have people that are talking, say, the next 2 weeks about whatever topic, and so when we come together, that committee has one representative that's going to present the information collectively to the rest of us. Because I mean, these are great ideas, but at the same time, like we already said, we can't just keep coming together with ideas. And at the same
Right.
time, we have to keep in mind too that what we said last week, all this doesn't have to come together in a month,
Right.
you know. But I know we need not to lose our momentum is also just as important. So somehow, uh, Doug, and you're right, somehow we have to get structure. We have to know where we're going with all of this because I've heard a lot of ideas. Right now, we seem to be focusing on mainly education, but then it goes back to
Which
Doug,
is
what you
my
were saying.
strong suit.
Yeah, but it goes back to what Doug was saying earlier about some people's issue might not be that they want education. They might just want to be content. Some people have other issues. So it's all that stuff.
so
So, but we have to narrow some of this stuff down. What's the most important? And
so
that's where committees come in.
if I can make this statement, so I'm getting ready to do a conference, right? So within Zoom and Microsoft Teams or whatever platform people want to use, technology platforms. So say we have 20 family members on here right now, and within Zoom you can do breakout rooms, correct? You can breakout rooms. So this breakout room is going to talk about housing. This breakout room is going to talk about finances, and you can have it all in the meeting like we are here right now, and therefore it can make it easier on the administrators because you're not doing all these days, right? This is the day. These are the three or four areas that topics that we're going to be talking about: financial literacy, housing, mental health issues, budgeting, or whatever it is. And then within that meeting, just like we're talking now, okay, we're going to do these breakout sessions. And basically, as people sign up for them, as an administrator of Zoom or what have you, you can put people in those rooms and you can put a time on them. So therefore, that facilitator of that room can go ahead and give their speech or whatever they want to share with just those individuals in that room. So there's a lot of different areas, and I'm glad we're talking about it. But I just think, and we've talked about this a lot. Christmas times, Christmas times when all these wonderful ideas come up, right? But there has to be implementation plan. There has to be moving forward, because an idea is just a good idea until there's execution. So that's just my thought. So kind of, where do we go from here? What's the next step? What do we want to do?
So the next action step, I would say it's asking people to starting committees would be the next one, like as a
So if I can make a suggestion,
and so asking people like, what are your interests in? It's basically like getting all these questions out there, like what are your interests, what are things you want to learn about. We need to set up committees. What would you be interested in putting? Where would you be interested in putting your time or whatever? And also, like, I guess now, because of the need for committees, it's like asking people for like their level of commitment, which will be kind of fostered through getting on a committee.
So
that's
how do you pursue that? What do you do? Do we send out texts? Do we send out emails? Do we talk to one another? Or is there are there family members that we have in mind? That's what I'm asking.
The people have to sign up on their own.
Yeah, I definitely want to just like with all the people. So basically, all the people that have been on the calls, as well as if there's anyone that hasn't, that's expressed interest, like from that group of people, then showing like, okay, like these are like, like we need committees, and like kind of sending that stuff out to them solely. And like, what would you be willing to, would you like to be on a committee? Like,
so may I ask, as the folks who are on the call right now, I'm typing this on the document. So what committees, just we don't have to nail them down, but give me some committee names. It doesn't have to be many, but just.
I think for sure a financial one.
Okay, financial. I just want to capture this information, because if we don't capture it, it's just talk, right? All right. Financial. Yes. What else? Housing. Okay. What else?
Schooling.
Okay. Education. Okay.
Well, and the one that you talked
parenting.
about.
What about parenting?
I think Dominique, investments, and what was the
that would be
LLC
under financial.
and
that'd be under financial.
That would be under
financial.
Okay.
Yeah. So
the Zoom meeting committee.
What?
The Zoom meeting. Like there needs to be a committee that plans these Zoom meetings and the education and all that stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna put Zoom administrators. I don't know what.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know what Zoom committee.
I mean, Doug, you can be more articulate than I am. Hey guys, we gotta wrap up, because I know some people have to leave soon. So.
All right. So that's good. I put in there parenting too. I mean, let's just be real. We don't have the greatest parents in our, and not to their fault, not to any of our fault, I should say, but it's an issue that we all need help on.
Schooling, university life, like talking about that, financial aid.
That's what I meant by schooling, like not necessarily like how to get there, get the resources on how to, apply for scholarships, FAFSA, so on, like that whole ball game.
Also social life on campus and all that.
Well, that's all under the education
Yeah.
umbrella. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? We talked a little bit about that in terms of all these nurses consultation. So, yeah, we talked about that, Alicia. But yeah, that's good.
What about also our history?
We already have that committee though.
So,
We're not
yeah,
that committee.
Dominique, now they already have,
We are not that committee.
We have that committee that's helping with the family history right now.
That would be Alicia's on that committee who's asking about
but
family.
Dominique, if you guys can see the document here, I put parenting, then open, close parentheses, domestic. So that can fall under domestic, kind of, I think.
Family?
Or family, domestic, parenting,
Yeah.
family. I don't know.
Yes. Actually, can you put family history separate? Because
Okay.
that's like a whole other
Yeah, I was
ball
gonna talk
game.
about like what we're currently working on right now, like gathering all of the family, not just like, you know, what we're doing right now, Dom, but to expand that, like
Okay.
history, well, just more expanded
Okay.
on what we're
Yeah.
doing even right now.
Yep.
I'm going to move off this document so I can show Helen what you guys are referring to.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So Helen, a couple years ago, Christmas, like I said, all this stuff, all these
It's because we see each other during Christmas.
all
and we
these
can,
granular ideas happen during Christmas
when we're all together for 3
time.
weeks.
So anyway, about two Christmases ago, that's not a good statement, but anyway, we came up with this, or we started developing this. Let me get into it. Why am I not getting into it? This deal, kind of a family tree deal. Can you see it okay, Helen?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Let me try to move some stuff out of the way here. So we put all of Levi's children. It's called the Lovey Baker family deal. So we have the children, all our aunts, uncles, and it's a work in progress. So we have them in the first column, the children, according to their age, or how they were born. And the next column over, my mom added this, or Dominique wanted it to, because they all have access to this document and they edit it. So we have it in first of all, one implementation step we did take as a family, we created a central place where we can put the documentation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing. That's a good thing, right?
And that's in the Google Drive, right?
That is in the Google Drive.
Okay.
So this family tree, you have Lena and then her children. And then, so this is the page one or first tab. We have Levi's children. And then the tabs moving on, we narrowed it down, streamlined it down to the children. So Lena, then you have Irma, Johnny Lee, Brenda. So we have their children, the same structure. We have Bobby and her children, and then on, Robert's son, and on. So what they were talking about, I'm gonna go to Addie Joe's. So we have Addie Joe's, you can see it there.
Mm-hmm.
What we were needing help on and was, Dominique, I'm just gonna speak on your behalf. Is that okay? Dominique? Oh, okay.
She
So
give you thumbs up.
what we were wanting was, instead of one or two people, Dominique and Marilyn, I think were at the time, instead of them trying to call all these folks and gather all this information, they were trying to select individuals within the family, say the Coulter family. Who could we assign this to, and they can do get all the names and the nieces and the nephews of all their siblings, right? Their children and their grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can build it that way, because
Gotcha.
there's a lot of names. I mean, I found out I have cousins I didn't even know were born.
Okay, right.
All these children.
Birthday.
So you can like see Tim's, right? Tim, you have Anthony, and then Erica, Taylor, Barbara, Alaria, and they were born. And then if they have any children. So
Right.
we were just trying to build this out, and it's a work in progress. So my mom is in here a lot. I don't know if you can see on the bottom, these numbers 2 on Addie Joe, she made some changes, or
Mhm.
somebody made some changes.
Your mom.
Yeah. So
Everything she has so far that I'm looking at is correct under my mom.
That's thanks to Kayla and BJ also. They've been sending me stuff.
Oh, okay.
and see, and one of the things I said, families are always, and even the folks who have passed away, we're just kind of like highlighting or putting an asterisk just to kind of identify still living or have passed away. But
Mhm.
children are being added, like Janae, she's going to be having a child. So under
And so is
death,
Vivian. Yep, Vivian too.
oh, and Vivian, see, there you go.
Wait, Janae's pregnant? Vivian's
Yeah.
pregnant? You didn't
Yes.
know
Yeah.
Vivian was pregnant? You knew Vivian
Yes.
was pregnant? Yeah, she's pregnant.
You
I
haven't
can
I
help
know
you on
Vivian's
our
pregnant. I
side
didn't
real
know
well.
Janae was pregnant.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. So a family member that's represented that could help, that could do the legwork. Okay, we can hear you guys talking your own private conversation.
Sorry.
So yeah, therefore, like just what you shared, Vivian is having a baby, Janae, because most of the family members kind of know what's going on within their
Mhm.
own families, but may not know what's going on in other families. So
Correct.
yeah, so this has been a work, 2 years? Well, last year it just kind of went dormant, but it's still been out there. So
We didn't do anything with it last year.
right.
It was in
Oh, she got
2018.
married?
They're engaged. Shh.
Who?
Vivian.
Yeah, they're engaged.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so like they just bought a house, right? Or they're in the
Yeah, they
process.
bought a house first. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
of course, all on Facebook.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Facebook shouldn't be the primary source where we find out.
Yeah. I'm not
Right.
on Facebook anymore. So.
So anyway, those are some things in the making. And
Yeah.
this is just my position. I think it takes a small group to get this stuff up and going, like in anything,
Mhm.
and then people buy in, because this is scary stuff to people, because it's not their world that they live in, and they don't. You can say, hey, we're going to talk about family wealth. Well, everyone wants to have more money, but it takes work to get money. It
Oh,
takes,
but it does.
takes dedication, and you may not achieve it. There's a higher percentage of failure than success when you're trying to get money, and really investing is a gamble, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's some tricky stuff. I know about some investments that I have, but I don't really share that with people, especially family members, because if they lose, I don't want them blaming me, right?
Right. Okay.
So there's a self-preservation piece in all this too.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what we're kind of trying to do, and so I guess we got to come up with a solution. I guess the next action item is this, and I don't know why I'm talking so much, but next action item is looking at these committees, I guess.
Yes.
Committees, as far as, I'm gonna call it family education, educating in all these areas. That's one part. And then this whole family business thing is a whole nother entity
Right.
by itself. All right.
Yeah.
So who's going to take that by the horn and find out people's strengths, desires, and if they're willing to do it?
Yeah, I'll definitely with you, Doug.
With me, I haven't committed.
I committed you, Doug. I
I'm
am
just
going
talking.
to.
I'm just sharing what I've learned. So
I know. Within the next 2 weeks, I'll get together with you and kind of come up with some documents and stuff like that to hand out to people. And so, and then just kind of have people like anticipate that we'll come back and.
So yeah, I would suggest, and this is in the business world, nonprofit as well as not profit, they do a SWOT analysis, SWOT. Identify your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Yeah, we do that.
And you do that just so you say, okay, these are your strengths. And some people say, I don't even want to deal with that. That's my weakness. And then what opportunities do you see in this? The opportunity is being a blessing to other family members. But then also there may be some threats. I get cut off, or I feel intimidated by this family member or whatever. And I'm using that because I have felt that as an individual. It's like, oh, Doug's a minister. And I said, but I'm your cousin. that's something that I do. God called me to do. That doesn't change our biological connection. You know, don't stray away from me because I'm a Christian and I'm still your cousin type of deal. So some people are threatened by those things. So that's just my
That's
experience.
right.
So,
We do have to, we're 20 minutes behind schedule. So just for like Doug, I'll get in contact with you, but for everyone else, Helen, if you would like to work on a mission and vision statement, I'll text you that stuff if I haven't already. I don't
I'm
know if I
gonna
texted
text
you.
you my email address, okay?
Is it the housing one, Helen?
Yep, I have that one and a personal one. You can use that one, my work one.
Okay, I sent the drive to your work one.
You did just now?
Yes, yes, ma'am. And
Yep, I
yeah,
got it.
and cool. And then just for everything else, stay tuned, y'all, and you'll be hearing from us soon. So yes. All right. Thank you all.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
all right,
Everyone have a